lesson one. I'm gonna let you just use this since you're, this. We got a guest right here. He's just visiting. What's your name again?
Andre.
This brother Andre right here got referred actually by a treatment facility that he's in, and he needed to have a group, and somehow he got referred to us, and so we just give Andre a little hand. Go over to that chapter 19. Yeah, page 19. The rich don't work for money. Joey, you all right?
Yeah.
Somebody just start out reading.
I got you. Lesson 1, the rich don't work for money. The poor and the middle class work for money. The rich have money, work for them. Dad, can you tell me how to get rich? My dad put down the evening paper. Why do you want to get rich, son? Because today Jimmy Mom drove up in their new Cadillac, and they were going to their beach house for the weekend.
Right.
He took 3 of his friends, but Mike and I weren't invited. They told us we weren't invited because we were poor kids. I know that fella.
Right.
They did. And my dad asked incredulously.
What?
Yeah, incredulous. Did I say it right?
Incredulous.
Incredulous. Yeah, they did, he replied in a hurt tone. My dad silently shook his head, pushed his glasses up on the bridge of his nose, and went back to reading the paper. I stood waiting for an answer. The year was 1956. I was 9 years old. By some twist of fate, I attended the same public school where rich people sent their kids. We were primarily...
Somebody else jump in and take it from there. That was good, son.
All right.
We were primarily a sugar plantation in Hawaii. The managers of the plantation and the other affluent people, such as doctors, business owners, bankers, sent their children to this public elementary school. After grade 6, their children were generally sent off to private school. Because my family lived on one side of the street, I went to this school. I had lived on the other side of the street. I would have gone to a different school with kids from families more like mine. After grade 6, these kids and I would go on to public intermediate and high school. There was no private school for them or for me. My dad finally put down the paper. I could tell he was thinking. Well, son, he began slowly, if you want to be rich, you have to learn to make money. How do I make money, I asked. Well, use your head, son, he said, smiling. Even then, I knew that really meant, that's all I'm going to tell you. Or I don't know the answer, so don't embarrass me. A partnership is formed.
Hold up. Somebody else jump in. That was great.
The next morning I told my best friend Mike what my dad had said. As best as I could tell, Mike and I were the only poor kids in this school. Mike was also in this school by a twist of fate. Someone had drawn a jog in the line for the school district. And we wound up in school with the rich kids. We weren't really poor, but we felt as if we were because all the other boys had new baseball gloves, new bicycles, and new everything. Mom and Dad provided us with the basics like food, shelter, and clothes. But that was about it. My dad used to say, if you want something, work for it. We wanted things, but there was not much work available for 9-year-old boys. So what do we do to make money? Mike asked. I don't know, I said. But do you want to be my partner? He agreed, and so that Saturday morning, Mike became my first business partner. We spent all morning coming up with ideas on how to make money. Occasionally, we talked about all the cool guys at Jimmy's beach house having fun. It hurt a little, but that hurt was good because it inspired us to keep thinking of a way to make money. Finally, that afternoon, a bolt of lightning struck. It was an idea Mike got from a science book he had read. Excitedly, we shook hands, and the partnership now had business.
That's
Had a
good.
business.
I've now had a business. Somebody else.
For the next several weeks, Mike and I ran around our neighborhood, knocking on doors and asking our neighbors if they would serve their own
They're toothbrush,
toothbrush,
toothpaste.
toothpaste from us. What puzzle look most adult consider with a smile. Some asked us what we were doing which we replied, we cannot tell you. It's a business decision.
Secret.
Good job, Cal. Somebody else jumped in. Good job.
My mom grew distressed as the weeks wore on. We had selected a site. Next to her washing machine as the place we would stockpile our raw materials. In the brown cardboard box, at one time held ketchup bottles, our little pile of used toothpaste within the world. Finally, my mom put her foot down. The sight of her neighbor's messy, crumpled, used toothpaste tubes had gotten to her. What are you boys doing? She asked. And I don't want to hear again that it's a business secret. Do something with all this mess. I'm going to throw it out. Mike and I pleaded in bed, explaining that we would soon have enough, and then we would begin production. We informed her that we were waiting on a couple of neighbors to finish their toothpaste so we could have their tubes. Mom granted us a 1 week extension. The date to begin production was moved up, and the pressure was on. Our first partnership was already being threatened. It became my job to tell the neighbors to quickly use up their toothpaste, saying that they just wanted them to brush more often anyway. I began to put together the production. One day, my dad drove up with a friend to see 2 9-year-old boys in the driveway with the production line operating at full speed. There was fine white powder everywhere. On the long table, a small milk cartons for school, and our family's hibachi grill was going with red hot coals at maximum heat. Dad walked up cautiously, having to park the car at the base of the driveway since the production line blocked the carport. As he and his friend got closer, they saw a steel pot sitting on top of the coals. Noticed the toothpaste tubes were being melted down. In those days, toothpaste did not come in plastic tubes. Tubes were made of lead. So once the paint was drained off, the tubes were dropped in a small steel pot. They melted until they became liquid, and with my mom's pot holders, we poured the lead through a small hole in the top of the milk.
Somebody else go. You gotta speak up, though.
The milk cartons were filled with plasters. The milk cartons were filled with plaster of Paris. White powder was everywhere. In my haste, I had knocked the bag over, and the entire area looked like it had been hit by a snowstorm. The milk cartons were the outer containers for plaster of Paris molds. My dad and his friend watched as we carefully poured the molten lead through a small hole in the top of plaster of Paris cube. Careful, my dad said. I nodded without looking up. Finally, once the pouring was through, I put the steel pot down and smiled at my dad. What are you boys doing? He asked with a cautious smile. We're doing what you told me to do. We're going to be rich, I said. Yep, Mike said, grinning, and nodding his head. We're partners. And what is in those plaster molds? My dad asked. Watch, I said. This should be a good batch. With a small hammer, I tapped the seal that divided the cube in half. Cautiously, I pulled off the top half of the plaster mold, and a lead of nickel fell out. "Oh no," my dad exclaimed. "You're casting nickels out of lead?" "That's right," Mike said. "We're doing as you told us to do. We're making money." My dad's friend turned and burst into laughter. My dad smiled and shook his head. Along with a fire and a box of spent toothpaste tubes in front of him were two little boys covered with white dust, smiling from ear to ear. He asked us to put everything down and sit with him on the front step of our house. With a smile, he gently explained what the word counterfeiting meant. Our dreams were dashed. "You mean this is illegal?" asked Mike in a quivering voice. "Let them go," my dad's friend said. "They might be developing a natural talent." My dad glared at him. "Yes, it is illegal," my dad said gently. "But you boys have shown great creativity and original thought. Keep going. I'm really proud of you." Disappointed, Mike and I sat in silence for about 20 minutes before we began cleaning up our mess. The business was over on opening day.
Right.
Sweeping the powder up, I looked at Mike and said, "I guess Jimmy and his friends are right. We're poor." My father was just leaving as I said that. "Boys," he said, "you are only poor if you give up. The most important thing..."
Wait a minute, stop right there. Go back and read that again.
My father was just leaving as I said that. "Boys," he said, "you're only poor if you give up. The most important thing is that you did something. Most people only talk and dream of getting rich. You've done something. I'm very proud of the two of you. I will say it again. Keep going. Don't quit." Mike and I stood there in silence. They were nice words, but we still did not know what to do. "So how come you're not rich, Dad?" I asked. "Because I chose to be a school teacher. School teachers really don't make, excuse me, I'm jumping ahead. School teachers really don't think about being rich. We just like to teach. I wish I could help you, but I really don't know how to make money."
Somebody else jump in, that's good.
Mike and I turn and continue our cleanup. "I know," said my dad. "If boys wanted to learn how to be rich, don't ask me. Talk to your dad, Mike." My dad asked Mike with a, I don't know what kind of scrunched up face. "Yeah, your dad," repeated my dad with a smile. "Your dad and I had the same banker, and he raved about your father. He told me several times that our father is brilliant when it comes to making money." My dad,
Page 25.
Mike asks again in disbelief, "Then how come we don't have a nice car, a nice house like the rich kids at school?" A nice car and a nice house doesn't necessarily means you are rich or you know how to make money, my dad replied. Jimmy's dad works for the sugar plantation. He's not much different from me. He works for a company and I work for the government. The company buys the cars from him. The sugar company is in a financial trouble, and Jimmy dads may soon have nothing. Your dad is different, Mike. He seems to be building an empire, and I suspect in a few years he will be a very rich man. With that, Mike and I got excited again.
Hold up there, Mike. Malik, stop from there. With that,
Mike and I got excited again. With new vigor, he began cleaning up the mess caused by our now defunct business. As we were cleaning, we made plans for how and when to talk to Mike's dad. The problem was that Mike's dad worked long hours and often did not come home until late. His father owned warehouses. construction company, a chain of stores, and 3 restaurants. It was the restaurants that kept him out late. Mike caught the bus home after he finally finished cleaning up. He was going to talk to his dad when he got home that night and asked him if he could teach us how to become rich. Mike promised to call as soon as he had talked to his dad, even if it were late. The phone rang at 8:30 p.m. Okay, I said, next Saturday. I put the phone down. Mike's dad had agreed to meet with us. On Saturday, I caught the 7:30 a.m. bus to the poor side of town.
The poor side of town. Sounds like a record. So you getting the idea? These are young boys just like we would have been, young people trying to think about money. Now the difference in us, in some ways, many of us from the urban agenda, we already had some idea about how to generate money. Most of that had to do with dope or prostitution. I'll wait for all the amens and that.
Amen.
And so because of that, listen to this carefully. That was a good bite of chicken I get. Because of that, we fail to prioritize our thinking and allowed that hocus pocus stuff to trick us out of years and years and years of our lives. Is that the truth or a lie?
That's the truth. That's the truth.
It's so tricky. 32 years.
And do you know, have you ever went by and seen little kids on the corner selling lemonade or something like that? And then you stopped and bought some, even though you might not even drink that lemonade, but you stopped and bought it anyway.
Yes, sir.
Why did you stop and buy it?
To support.
To support what?
The dream,
Yeah, amen. The dream.
that initiative.
It puts good karma into the atmosphere.
But it goes deeper than that, I think, because a lot of people who would maybe want to support your dream don't stop. They don't buy anything. They just look right at them and keep going where they're going. But you stop. And you stop because you recognize that there's something there that I blew past. But these guys are not blowing past it. And I'm gonna up here, if they got time enough to do that, then I got a minute to stop and give them $1 for the lemonade. Is that the truth or a lie?
That's the truth. That's the truth.
See, because inside of us, there is resident a thinking, a way of being that quite often it hasn't been messed with because we've been off on our little escapades, doing this, that, and the third, and then this way of thinking, this way of being, this idea of becoming rich is really just sitting here waiting for you to quit clowning and come back and pay me some attention.
So at that moment, we kind of live vicariously through that person, that kid.
Absolutely. Now, I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. Last week, Will gave us a presentation. I'll bet you everybody who left here thought about Will's presentation from last week. Is that right or wrong? What did you think about it?
We created something that's amongst us. And then if it go good here, you can get it out and you'll have a business.
Somebody else go. That's good, Phil.
I think it was innovative. It was something new, something we had never heard of, and something that we needed. And if we could just get behind him, it's only popping.
Absolutely. For those who weren't here, and for Andre, who's a guest, one of our pop guys talked, and this is his words. He introduced us to the latest in live TV video streaming. And I told y'all he set this big old pretty TV up on the table. I've been telling this story everywhere I go. And I said, Will has really been thorough and so thoughtful, and look at that pretty TV. Until I went back in the kitchen and I realized it was my TV. I was like, oh, I see. But you know, he was showing us, and he gave us a real accurate demonstration of how to get this live TV streaming. He talked about his prices. He talked about why his prices were moderate. You get it? What he was talking about was developing residual income. Now he has a job.
Very good job.
And, well, you know, he has a job, and as a matter of fact, a couple people who are in here are students of the work that he has done on his job. If you're just listening, son, then you understand. But now watch this. But then this work that he showed us last week wasn't that work. This was something innovative and something that he was doing on his own to generate residual income. Somebody say residual income.
Residual income.
Yeah, what we used to call more money. But do you know what? Man, Will was on to something. And so Wayne, what I'm asking you, and I will pay for this, is to create them tracks. You know, like, you know when concerts are gonna come, and they have a track, look like a little small postcard. You know what I'm talking about? That talks about pop TV. You know, and the latest in live video streaming at your door. For more information, call, you know, Willie, Big Willie at, you know, whatever the number, right? Why am I telling you this? Because, watch this, you know, Will, on his lunch break from his job, is running over to some people's house installing his live video streaming, right? And he's picking up that money.
Slow but sure.
And what we got to think about, what we really have to be concern ourselves with, is how do we utilize our thinking to get paid? You read the book when you were locked up, Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. But then when you got out, you didn't really think that much about it. I'm just telling you the truth. Some of that stuff goes away. Right? Some of that good information goes away when you come out and you get confronted by the vicissitudes of life, the domestic norms and abnormalities of life confront you, and it steals away some of this information that you wanted to use. And what we're doing right here tonight is just trying to reintroduce you to your own thinking about getting rich, or at least talking about it without talking about selling nobody no dope, buying no dope from nobody, sticking nobody up, drinking up some alcohol or some crazy stuff that we know has cost us more than any of us have been able to afford to pay. I'll wait for all the amens to die down. Watch this. Go back to page 26. Jory, you pick it up at the lesson begins.
The lesson begins.
Wait a minute. Andre, you want to read?
Yeah, I can read.
Go ahead.
The lessons begin. Mike and I met with his dad that morning at 8 o'clock. He was already busy, having been at work for more than an hour. His construction supervisor was just leaving in his pickup truck as I walked up to his simple, small, and tidy home. Mike met me at the door. Dad's on the phone, and he said to wait on the back porch. Mike said as he opened the door. The old wooden floor creaked as I stepped across the threshold of the aging house. There was a cheap mat just inside the door. The mat was there to hide the years of wear from countless footsteps that the floor had supported. Although clean, it needed to be replaced. I felt claustrophobic as I entered the narrow living room that was filled with old, musty, overstuffed furniture that today would be collector's items. Sitting on the couch were two women, both a little older than my mom. Across from the women sat a man in workman's clothes. He wore khaki slacks and a khaki shirt nearly pressed, neatly pressed, but without starch, and polished work boots. He was about 10 years older than my dad. They smiled as Mike and I walked past them towards the back porch. I smiled back shyly.
Somebody else jump in. Joey, you go. Thank you, Andre.
Who are those people, I asked. Oh, they work for my dad. The older man runs his warehouse. And the women are the managers of the restaurants. And as you arrived, you saw the construction supervisor who is working on a road project about 50 miles from here. His other supervisor, who is building a tract of houses, left before you got here. Does this go on all the time, I asked. Not always, but quite often, said Mike, smiling as he pulled up a chair to sit down next to me. I asked my dad if he would teach me to make money. Mike said, "Oh, and what did he say to that?" I asked with cautious curiosity. Well, he had a funny look on his face at first, and then he said he would make us an offer. "Oh," I said, rocking my chair back against the wall. I sat there, perched out on two rear legs of the chair. Mike did the same thing. "Do you know what the offer is?" I asked. "No, but we'll soon find out." Suddenly Mike's dad burst through the rickety screen door onto the porch. Mike and I jumped to our feet, not out of respect, but because we were startled. "Ready, boys?" he asked, as he pulled up a chair to sit down with us. We nodded our heads as we pulled our chairs away from the wall to sit in front of him. He was a big man, about 6 feet tall and 200 pounds. My dad was taller, about the same weight, and 5 years older than Mike's dad. They sort of looked alike, though, not of the same ethnic makeup. Maybe their energy was similar. "Mike says you want to learn to make money. Is that correct, Robert?" I nodded my head quickly, but with little trepidation. He had a lot of power behind his words and smiled. "Okay, here's my offer. I'll teach you, but I won't do it classroom style. You work for me, I'll teach you. You don't work for me, I won't teach you. I can teach you faster if you work, and I'm wasting my time if you just want to sit and listen like you do in school. That's my offer. Take it or leave it."
Well,
Should I keep going?
somebody else jump in.
Oh man, I asked a question first. I asked, no, take it or leave it. I've got too much work to do to waste my time. If you can't make up your mind decisively, then you'll never learn to make money anyway. Opportunities come and go.
Let's just stop right there for a minute. Hey, son. Just pour it down right out there?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I'm like a cry.
Robert, I want you to go back and read that part again.
Start from there. I've got too much work.
No, take it or leave it.
Oh, no. Take it or leave it. I've got too much work to do to waste my time. If you can't make up your mind decisively, then you'll never learn to make money anyway.
Stop right there. See, what he's saying is, his time is the real money. So he's saying, I don't really have time to waste with you. So take it or leave it. You get it. And sometimes we have to let our yay be yay or our nay be nay. In terms of making money or in social ways. Boy, that was good. But watch this. He says, and I love this, if you can't make up your mind decisively, then you will never learn to make any money anyway. And isn't our inability to make up our minds decisively and positively exactly what sent us to the penitentiary in the first place? Maybe it isn't. But this is how powerful a decision is. You remember Kent Kent Comercorn, I can't think of his last name. He's a nice dude. He's the guy from the Star Tribune who we're doing the contract with. Remember?
Yeah.
Kent. And Kent, he's a good brother, man. He's a cool brother. And he runs a pretty big operation. They distribute 30,000 newspapers a day. You know. And I thought, you know, when we got involved in it, I didn't know it was that big of an operation. But if you take 30,000 newspapers and multiply it by $2, each paper costs $2 or $1.50. You know, that's a lot of money.
A day.
Huh?
Investing.
But
A lot of money that you invested.
so anyway, we have this little small business. It's a residual income business. We made up our minds. Say made up our minds.
Made up our minds.
Yeah, we made up our minds. We're gonna do business. Hey, Rarity, what's going on,
What's
man?
up with you?
Good to see you, sir. Come on in, man. Sit down, take your hat off. Watch this. We made up our minds to do business with this guy, right? And you know, and what it does is it provides residual income on top of, you know, whatever you make at your job. You know, everybody's working and all of this. We love that, but it's some residual income, extra dollars. Say extra dollars.
Extra dollars.
Don't that sound good?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you just like to have some extra dollars?
Absolutely.
What it is.
Some chicken first.
Right, you want some chicken first. I don't know about that, because here go Ananias, here go, look, Ananias extra dollars. This is residual income.
All right now.
He might get full off.
Somebody say extra dollars.
Extra dollars.
Yeah,
Now you got extra dollars.
yeah. And laugh here, but look, you gotta make a decision, but you gotta make a decision, and a decision, I don't care what the decision is, it's a decision. And what we're talking about here is how you utilize your decision-making ability in real time to either earn money or to generate extra dollars. Say extra dollars.
Extra dollars. Yes.
Now watch this. Even if you have a budget from your job, or not, I'm gonna say a budget from your job because we struggle with that. So I won't jump to that. But you know, you have a job, right? I can't hear you.
Right.
So then you get used to how much you get on that job every 2 weeks. But then if you can add some dollars to that positively, it's going to take two things: a clear decision and some of your time. But with those two things in mind, you can add residual income. Say residual income.
Residual income.
I just want to help you think about this, and I'm pretty sure that we have never just sat down and talked amongst ourselves about making money, about, you know, generating dollars, right? Somebody go to the next, where we at here? Where are you?
Opportunities, 28.
Yeah, go ahead.
Opportunities come and go. Being able to know when to make quick decisions.
Excuse me one second. Darius, real quick though, now Darius been running all over the country, he's so busy. So, you know, he getting ready to go do something now, he's so busy. But just give us a 5-minute check-in about your trip to Oakland and what's happening.
Yeah, I had an opportunity to go to Oakland. My significant other, she's interviewing for this fellowship to help an author who is a professor at like one of the colleges, put together a research project. The research project is also connected with 3 other cities across the country, and one of them is St. Paul. And so she went out there for that, but then we just decided why not just make it a vacation. So I went out there to San Francisco and Oakland and Sacramento, kind of loop between those 3, and even went out to wine country, Napa Valley. It was gorgeous, just like I messed around and went into some forest in San Francisco, just like the trees just kept going, and it was like they was touching the sky or something, and they developed a path for us to just go in there and explore around, and for a minute I thought we wasn't gonna make it, but she was like, just keep the faith. We're just gonna keep on this path, because the path twists and turns, and we was going deeper into it. the forest was coming out at
It was
us.
getting a little scared, huh?
It was getting a little scary, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I seen too many movies.
Right.
And so we just kept going, and then I just paused and just acknowledged how beautiful all of this was around us. And I got pictures, I'm gonna post some of those pictures, but it was just like, just gorgeous. And then I had an opportunity to kind of see the person that I was out there with interact with her family. And the one thing that stuck with me the most is just how much love this family clearly had for each other. It was thick, it was clear, it was obvious, it was a physical like love. Like it was incredible. It was mind blowing for me because reflecting back on my own family, we didn't love on each other the way that they just shared love with each other
Right.
freely and openly, and it was really incredible. And it helped me to understand.
Was
how,
that intimidating to you?
I don't know if it was intimidating. It was different. It was different. It was so different that I even felt a level of discomfort with such just love. Just like real love.
Yeah.
Not love that was expecting anything in return. This was just genuine. Oh, I love you, family, dope.
Wow.
It's hey cousin, hey cousin.
Right.
It was just incredible. It was
So they have accepted you in. You've been indoctrinated. They were meeting you and accepting you into the family.
They brought me in.
Wow.
She was like, you went through the fire.
Did
And
you,
so
did you do good?
I did good. I got a chance to take some pictures where old girl was seeing people barbecuing and just having that just in her whole world. So I took some pictures on that spot with me on my phone. Some of y'all who are on social media know what I'm talking about.
The lady calling police on the trip. Who's barbecuing?
But I don't know. I hope you don't put so many pictures on Facebook, and that some way you might kind of think for a minute and just have the experience and not believe that it's absolutely necessary for you to share it with others.
I think most of the pictures that I took are just mine. I just kept most of my pictures.
Right. I just wanted to share that. But so anyway, the book is yours. I'm gonna sign that book next week, and when you bring it the next time. But I want you to read that book. Your assignment is to read chapters. This is everybody's assignment. Is to read chapters 1 through 4. 1 through 4 is not that much.
I ain't got an assignment from Pops.
You got an assignment, brother.
All right.
1 through 4.
Yes, sir.
All right.
We on it.
Love you.
Love you, Pops.
All right.
I love y'all.
All right, baby.
Somebody pick it up. Pick up your reading.
That's what's up. That's what's up. All right, y'all.
Ready. Turn to page 28. Somebody pick it up where we were left off. I think it was Lolita. Was you reading?
Yes.
Oh, thank you, sweetie.
Opportunities come and go. Being able to know when to make quick decisions is an important skill. You have the opportunity that you asked for. School is beginning, or it's over in 10 seconds. Mike's dad said with a teasing smile. Take it, I said. Take it, said Mike. Good, said Mike's dad. Mrs. Martin will be by in 10 minutes. After I'm through with her, you'll ride with her to my superette, and you can begin working. I'll pay you 10 cents an hour, and you'll work 3 hours every Saturday. But I have a softball game today, I said. Mike's dad lowered his voice in a stern tone. Take it or leave it, he said. I'll take it, I replied, choosing to work and learn instead of playing.
Ooh, that's good. Somebody talk about that, what he just shared. What was the lesson there?
In the decision.
Making a quick decision.
In the decision. We have a choice. We have a choice. I have a choice in that moment, and I can either go left with that choice, or I can go right with my choice. And there's going to be consequences behind either choice. One of them is going to be prosperous, and one of them might just be fulfilling whatever. But I have to make that choice to do what's in my best interest.
You almost got it all. That was good. Somebody else.
I say that he found a mentor, and his mentor was powerful. So he had to humble and lower himself, and whatever the mentor was offering for his information, because the mentor had the information. So he had to humble himself to get up close to be fed the information from the mentor.
That's good, and both of y'all have said it right, but the principle in it, you still missed. Go ahead.
I think he didn't think about how much money it was. He thought about was making money. Because at first they want to make money, no matter how small it was, a dime, a nickel. It's enough to build up to where they can have something.
See, and you reflected back on the wages, and your point is well taken. But there's
So
a
one thing I
principle,
think-
principle here that you missed. Go ahead.
Well, he dives the trap that like most of us, a lot of us fall into. It's like
Just
we
say,
always
speak
seek
for
the
yourself, what I fall into.
immediate gratification.
Uh-huh.
And so it's like he can go have his fun and do that, or he can do something that's gonna build up towards him being able to have a bigger level from like we a lot of times fall into that immediate gratification. We want what something gonna be that's gonna satisfy us or gratify us right away immediately instead of doing the work to build up. To build and move towards something that's going to be bigger than what that little thing is you have right in front of you.
That was the principle. The principle right there was sacrifice. Say sacrifice.
Sacrifice.
What the old man presented an opportunity, the boy responded, I got a baseball game. You know, baseball is fun for the, if you like it, you love it, But he said, the old man said, hey, I don't care, he didn't say this in words, but I really, I want you to think about what you want to do here. Take it or leave it. What that meant is that you have to sacrifice the baseball game for now to move on what you said you decided on, which was making money. This guy wanted to learn how to be rich. Now here's my struggle with many of us. When I'm talking about those who are here in this room, and then those who ought to be here, or those who I'm messing with in one of these institutions. We will talk about money. When we talk about money, we often talk about the street stuff. But what we're not really doing is putting ourselves together in a way to cause our ideas, which are good. We have good ideas. But we don't put ourselves in position for those ideas to really flourish, to really become something. And then, like Mr. Andre said back here, we, not willing to sacrifice chasing females. That's a sacrifice. We want to put the cart before the horse. We make it bling and flash before we really even have any real substance about ourselves. What we're learning about the old man here is that he has some money now, but you can't tell it by looking at it, right? And so I want to keep on going here, but I just want you to catch that principle right there of sacrifice. Let me give you an example that was right here in this room. I'll take you to I remember when you was working that temporary job. It was all right. Yeah. But then you ended up getting something better. But when you got something better, you had to miss group. Right? You get it? And that was it was a sacrifice. So when you're connected like that, and the connection is important. I can't stress this enough. What are you connected to? That's good. And if you're connected to something, isn't it your participation that generates the connection? Ooh, that's so good.
Yeah, that's right.
And when you don't participate, you can pontificate about being connected to it, but the truth of the matter is you're disconnected.
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah.
You have a theoretical connection to something that you know is good, but you have a fundamental disconnect because you won't sacrifice whatever that is you are doing to make sure that you stay personally connected to that source. Somebody come on, keep going. We getting there.
$0.30 later. By 9 o'clock in the morning, by 9 o'clock a.m. that day, Mike and I were working for Mrs. Martin. She was kind, patient woman. She always said that Mike and I reminded her of her two grown sons. Although kind, she believed in hard work and kept us moving. She spent 3 hours taking canned goods off the shelf, brushing each car with a feather duster to get the dust off, and then she restacking them neatly. It was excruciating boring work.
Right.
And Mike's dad, whom I call Mr. Rich Dad, I call Mike Rich Dad, owned 9 of these little, superettes, each with a large parking lot. They were the early versions of a 7-Eleven convenience stores. Little neighborhood grocery stores where people bought items such as milk, bread, butter, cigarettes. The problem was that it was Hawaii before air conditioning was widely used, and the stores could not close their doors because of the heat. On 2 sides of the store, the doors had to be wide open to the roads and parking lot. Every time a car drove by, others pulled in the parking lot. Dust would swerve and settle in the store. We knew we had a job as long as there was no air conditioning.
Good. Somebody else jump in. That's good, son.
For 3 weeks, Mike and I reported to Mrs. Martin and worked our 3 hours. By noon, our work was over, and she dropped 3 little dimes in each of our hands. Now, even at the age of 9 in the mid-1950s, 30 cents was not too exciting. Comic books cost 10 cents back then, so I usually spent my money on comic books and went home. By Wednesday of the 4th week, I was ready to quit. I had agreed to work only because I wanted to learn to make money from Mike's dad, and now I was a slave for 10 cents an hour. On top of that, I had not seen Mike's dad since that first Saturday. I'm quitting, I had told Mike at lunchtime. School was boring, and now I did not even have my Saturdays to look forward to. But it was the 30 cents that really got to me. This time Mike smiled. "What are you laughing at?" I asked with anger and frustration. "Dad said this would happen. He said to meet with him when you were ready to quit." "What?" I said indignantly. "He's been waiting for me to get fed up." "Sort of. Dad's kind of different. He doesn't teach like your dad. Your mom and dad lecture a lot. My dad is quiet and a man of few words. You just wait till this Saturday. I'll tell him you're ready." "You mean I've been set up?" "No, not really, but maybe. Dad will explain on Saturday."
That was excellent. And they're giving you some comparatives here. I don't want to make a lot about them right now, but I think we're getting there, and they're trying to build us up. The author's trying to build us up to help us understand something. Somebody else go. Waiting in line on Saturday.
I was ready to face Mike's dad. Even my real dad was angry with him. My real dad, the one I called the poor one, thought my rich dad was violating child labor law and should be investigated.
Right.
My educated, poor dad told me to demand what I deserved, at least 25 cents an hour.
Stop right there. This was the thought I had, and I wanted to say that when we at the last break, and then Angela pick it back up. when he's talking about these little super rents, what I get is the vision of these the Asian, Somalian and the African brothers, Arab brothers, who run these little chicken shacks and sell soul food. You get it? And you know, the food is good. But you know what? It's everywhere. You know, I mean, come on, don't judge. You know, it's good. It's good. Some of it's good. You'll find your spot, but it's good. But these guys, let me show you something. I love what they have done. And, you know, because in some ways, they have decided we want to find a market nobody wants to sell to. And we're going to go into that market and sell to them. And I don't care what city you go to, all over the country, these brothers are all in the neighborhood selling soul food, selling chicken. And this is what he's talking about right here. If I had even one, just on GP, as much as chicken as we eat, I would try somebody who had a version of some chicken to cater to. There is nobody that's affordable. You get it. We got a couple people who are in catering, you know, but their market is a bigger market than what we can bear. You know what I mean? And so I think I just wanted to get you to see how profitable it is. We live right over by the Mr. Barbecue one, Pop 2. That place is busy all the time. It's very seldom that you go by there and they're not. Well, what are they making in there?
They got beef sandwich.
Nothing unusual.
Money. That's what you going in there. The people going in there. The people look.
Money.
The people going in there. Most of the time, the people. Excuse me, sir. The people going in there don't have credit cards. Some do, but for the most part, it's a cash-orientated business. When they leave out of there, the one right by us, they got a big bag full of
money.
You don't even want to say the word.
Money.
I make better chicken than every single one.
Son, you know, maybe you do, but you know, right now you're not in a position to sell now, and so therefore, you know, that's the point we talk about. Just all that riffraff don't get us nowhere. That's what this is about. Right? So come on, pick it back up from where you were.
My poor dad told me that if I did not get a raise, I was to quit immediately. You don't need that damn job anyway, said my poor dad with indignation. At 8 o'clock Saturday morning, I walked through the door of Mike's house when Mike's dad opened it. Take a seat and wait in line, he said as I entered. He turned and disappeared into his little office next to the bedroom. I looked around the room and didn't see Mike anywhere. Feeling awkward, I cautiously sat down next to the same two women who were there 4 weeks earlier. They smiled and slid down the couch to make room for me. 45 minutes went by and I was steaming. The two women had met with him and left 30 minutes earlier. An older gentleman was there for 20 minutes and was also gone. The house was empty, and here I sat in a musty, dark living room on a beautiful, sunny Hawaiian day, waiting to talk to a cheapskate who exploited children. I could hear him rustling around the office, talking on the phone and ignoring me. I was ready to walk out, but for some reason I stayed. Finally, 15 minutes later, at exactly 9 o'clock, Rich Dad walked out of his office and said nothing and signaled with his hand to me to enter. I understand you want a raise or you're going to quit, Rich Dad said as he swiveled in his office chair. Well, you're not keeping your end of the bargain, I blurted out, nearly in tears. I was really frightened for me to confront a grown-up.
Right,
I mean, it was really frightening for me to confront a grown-up.
right.
You said that you would teach me if I would work for you. Well, I worked for you. I worked hard. I've given up my baseball games to work for you. But you haven't kept your word, and you haven't taught me anything. You are a crook like everyone else in town thinks you are. You're greedy. You want all the money and don't take care of your employees. You made me wait and don't show me any respect. I'm only a little boy, but I deserve to be treated better. Rich Dad.
Well, somebody else jump in there.
Rich Dad rocked back in his swivel chair, hands up to his chin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's the first time bringing it. I wanted him to come, you know.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I love
This is Barry right here. He's visiting, man. Give Barry a little hand for coming by. Yeah, so did you get your book?
No, I didn't.
Let Barry have it. Give Barry a book to use for a while there. Sorry, son. Okay. Go ahead.
Rich Dad rocked back in his swivel chair, hands up to his chin, and stared at me. Not bad, he said. In less than a month, you sound like most of my employees. What? I asked. Not understanding what he was saying, I continued with my grievance. I thought you were going to keep your end of the bargain and teach me. Instead, you want to torture me. That's cruel. That's really cruel. I'm teaching you, Rich Dad said quietly. What have you taught me? Nothing, I said angrily. You haven't even talked to me once since I agreed to work for peanuts. 10 cents an hour. Ha! I should notify the government about you. We have child labor laws, you know. My dad works for the government, you know. I'm trying to really say it right. Wow, said Rich Dad. Now you sound just like most of the people who used to work for me. People I've either fired or who have quit. So what do you have to say? I demanded, feeling pretty brave for a little kid. You lied to me. I worked for you and you have not kept your word. You haven't taught me anything. How do you know that I've not taught you anything? Asked Rich Dad calmly. Well, you've never talked to me. I've worked for 3 weeks and you have not taught me anything, I said with pout. Does teaching mean talking or lecture? Rich Dad asked. Well, yes, I replied. That's how they teach you in school, he said, smiling. But that's not how life teaches you. And I would say that life is the best teacher of all. Most of the time, life does not talk to you. It just sort of pushes you around. Each push is life saying, there's something I want you to learn. What is this man talking about? I asked myself. Life pushing me around was like life talking to me. So that's like him thinking in his mind, something like that. Like the way it's worded. Now, I knew I had to quit my job. I was talking to someone who needed to be locked up.
Somebody else jump in. Go ahead. That's good.
I knew I had to quit my job. I was talking to someone who needed to be locked up. If you learn life's lessons, you will do well. If not, life will just continue to push you.
Oh, let's stop right there. Let's stop right there. Just think about that.
Yeah, just start from.
Let's stop right there and just think about what that comment just said. What was it? Read it. Somebody read it again.
If you learn life lessons?
Yeah, but I want you to put I in there.
If I learn life lessons, you will. If I will learn life lessons, I will do well. If not, life will continue to push me around. People do two things.
Stop right there. Stop right there. You want to go too fast, Pastor. If you don't learn the lesson, then the issue, whatever that is going to continue to dominate you. This is, I'm going back to here. This is for guys who have ever, this is all love right here, but guys who have ever been sober but then relapsed. Or guys who have been released from prison but went back. And you know what you, when you get to that point, you know you're asking yourself, what's wrong? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I get the lesson? Right? But the truth of the matter is, we don't really sit around like what we're doing right here. and really, this is what processing. And without any processing, without any real processing, your good thinking gets wasted on your inability to sacrifice and or to be prepared to actually be successful and make money. I don't hear nobody in this church.
Okay?
And I read that one again, and then we'll continue on.
If I learn life lessons, I would do well. If not, life will continue to push me around. People do two things. Some just let life push them around. Others get angry and push back. But they push back against their boss or their job or their husband or wife. They do not know it's life that's pushing. I had no idea what he was talking about. Life pushes us all, life pushes all of us around. Some people give up and others fight. If you learn the lesson and move on, they welcome life pushing them around. To these few people, it means they need and want to learn something. They learn and move on. Most quit, and if you like you, fight. Rich Dad stood and shut the creaky old wooden window that needed repair. If you learn this lesson, you will grow into a wise, wealthy, and happy young man.
Back up. Let's just take a minute and go over it again. Go back and read that again, Adonai.
If I learned this lesson,
Yeah.
I will grow into a wise, wealthy, and happy.
What's the lesson? Go back to the lesson.
Life pushes all of us around. Some people give up and others fight. A few learn the lesson and move on. They welcome life pushing them around. To these few people, it means that they need and want to learn something. They learn and move on. Most quit, and a few, like you, fight. Rich Dad stood and shut the creaky old window that needed repair. If you learn this lesson, you will grow into a wise and wealthy and happy young man. If you don't, you will spend your life blaming your job, low pay, or your boss for your problems. You will live life always hoping for that big break that will solve all your money problems. Rich Dad looked over at me to see if I was still listening. His eyes met mine. We stared at each other, communicating through our eyes. Finally, I looked away once I had absorbed his message. I knew he was right. I was blaming him. And I did ask to learn. I was fighting. Rich Dad continued. Or, if you're the kind of person who has no guts, you just give up every time life pushes you. If you're that kind of person, you live all your life playing it safe, doing the right things, saving yourself for some event that never happens. Then you die a boring old man. You'll have lots of friends who really like you because you were such a nice, hard-working guy. But the truth is that you let life push you into submission. Deep down, you were terrified of taking risks.
Let's stop right there. Excuse me, son. This to me is so deep.
Yeah.
Let's just go right here for a minute. I want to leave this message here because really this is what he was talking about. But there's a couple things in terms of building blocks. Let's just think of this, this as a pyramid, and then think of that pyramid as being you. And that you have to develop and build yourself, like a mighty pyramid, right? And so one of the things that has to happen is and these are kids that we're reading about. So none of us can go back and become children again. So we have to be able to pick up the lesson, interpret what's being talked about as men and women who are grown, but yet in some ways take those big boy lessons and the big girl lessons and interpret them in a way that gets us where we have to go. And to build a pyramid of life, a foundation of life that's strong, you have to stand on something. Now, this particular pyramid of what they call a three-sided dimension, Bible calls that a threefold cord. This is the same theology of the pyramid. The threefold cord, it says, is not easily broken. That's the same structure that this is built on, and I don't have the artistic stuff where it's pyramid on every side. You know what I mean? But watch this. Down here, you have to have some finances. Right? You got to stand on something. So a beginning job, an entry-level job, it don't make no difference, whatever it is. When you come home, most of us here are coming home from the prison experience, you have to have some kind of an income. Plus that also keeps, others off of you. But that income right there is where I think we initially struggle because, and I know I did, you struggle right here building a foundation that will last. I remember when I first got out of the street, I got my job, I spent up all my money every week. And I just assumed that the people were gonna pay me again. I went to work, I worked hard, I was committed to that part. I came out of the street, and somehow though I believed, because y'all was living the square life, you was gonna actually pay me my money and your check was not gonna bounce. I still marvel at that, the foolishness of that thinking. But I would spend up all my money like I was still in the street. But then wait for them on Friday or whenever that was to pay me so I'd have some more money. But I wasn't building these blocks when I started off. I didn't get how to do that. Now in this legitimate world that we're in, you know what? You have to have a relationship with the bank. I'm just telling you, if you don't have a relationship with a bank, you're an outlier. Now, being an outlier is not totally bad, but you just also have to understand that when you want to do business inside of the system, a set of two or more connected things or parts forming a complex whole, when you want to do business with a system as an outlier, it often will spit you out and hurt your feelings. So you have to have a bank. And then you also have to have some savings, right? And then you also have to be able to think, make wise decisions, and be willing to follow them. That's discipline right there. Say discipline.
Discipline.
It's one of the things I particularly love about the Nation of Islam. The one thing I love about the Nation of Islam over everything else is their attention to discipline. You don't see no brothers from the nation going to the penitentiary once they get found. If they get saved in the penitentiary and come out, they do a complete about face. You don't see these brothers toting guns. They're not, raising up like they want to do this and that. Yet they are nation builders. Yet they shop with their own. They buy their own stuff. You don't see them buying the chicken right up here. They got their own little spots and they got their own little stuff they're doing. I'm just trying to tell you, it's really right. The motto is in front of our faces, but we haven't necessarily paid it enough critical attention. But watch this here. If you don't have any savings, savings are important. I don't care I say this to the men who I will be right in the prison with tomorrow. If you get state pay, somebody say state pay.
State pay.
And you go to commissary, spend up all that money. I don't care how much it is, $11, $9.50. If you go spend up all of that money, you are practicing being broke and disgusted while you're in prison, hollering about, listen, the same 10 cents that these guys are talking about now, they paying what y'all was making what a day? Somebody,
Quarter now?
Well, 50 cents an hour.
Joy, you was making 50? Dang, boy, you was big time.
I made $1.50 in the 2 years.
No, look at it. What I'm telling you, the point right there is, right? The point right there is, if you go in there, I see you brothers, and I love, brother have a big old bag, it's so heavy he can hardly get back to the spot. But it's like a demo. It's like the bag, carrying the bag for you to see is more important than him having all of that stuff. right? Often you'll see, this is just me, I've been at this a while. The guys I see with them great big bags, I never see them in the gym. I don't see them working out. I don't see them all that concerned about their body. That's just me. This is what I've seen, right? Guys who are concerned about their body, they don't spend as much time with their commissary because they're concerned about what goes in. Wow. Anyway, if you're right now, you have a good idea, say a good idea.
Good idea. Good idea.
Many of you in here are blessed with good ideas, but you won't take the time to build a foundation for yourself that your good idea can rest on. And then your good idea, it fizzles out and becomes a demon that haunts you for your inability to serve it correctly. And you get angry at other people for what you wouldn't do for yourself. And it's all been right there inside of you the whole time. But you have to build a foundation for success. So if you have a good idea, I'm just going to assume everybody here has one good idea. And that one good idea, no matter what it is, you might still be working at some other place. So what? You're just passing through there. What you got to do is get situated with a bank, get a relationship with a lending institution. Then you have to have some savings. Now, you have to have something in that bank, but something at your house, some cash. Say cash. Cash. Somebody say it again. Cash. You got to have some cash, Mike Fox, in your somewhere where you can put your hands on a few 20s or a few hundreds or something that will give you the victory over desperation. Because see, desperation, watch this, desperation has a way of, desperation will actually spring up from your good idea. But your good idea is not standing on anything. And so then your good idea turns on you and you realize, I don't have anything in the bank, I don't have any savings, I got all of these ideas, but they ain't working for me, and it just turns on you like a monster. Now watch this. And when it does, it's so overwhelming that you think, you know what, I'm going to use. I just won't feel different. I'm teaching better than you say anything. You know what, and you know, watch this, and this message is in your face and it's in your heart, but I need for it to be, because I need for us to move past this talking and pontificating about what we gonna do, and you know you ain't in no position to do nothing. Watch this. So if you mess around here and can see this for yourself, many of the guys, not many, but some guys will leave that penitentiary. They already got a bank, they already got some savings, they already got a good idea about what they want to do. So when they come home, whatever the job is, they don't get lost in all of the personality, all of the dynamics of who, you know, who's doing this or what, and getting caught up in your job politics. You ought to be able to, I mean, I'm not trying to dismiss it, but you don't want to get all caught up in that as if it's you. You're trying to get to this place of you, right? Rarity, would you turn that off, man?
That wasn't me.
Whoever that is, turn that stuff off.
Somebody out there.
I thought man wanted
Right. So I could go on here, but I just want to share with you what this guy is taking with these kids at a very elementary level and saying, let me show you how this really goes. Versus the guy's poor dad, his biological father, who works as a school teacher, who earns money but gets broke every week. Right? And it is in debt. He got big credit card debt and all this kind of stuff. Say debt. Debt. You owe everybody and then you can't pay nobody. Credit cards are good to have. I have some. Look. Well, watch this right here. But every now and then I just pay the whole thing off. The whole thing. Say the whole thing.
The whole thing.
And what that does is closes your account. And it makes other creditors instantly recognize, hey, I'm going to give him something too. If he's willing to pay everything off. Somebody said pay everything off. Pay everything off. Say everything.
Everything.
Coffee and soup.
Who got the, excuse me, sir. Sorry, somebody, where we at in the book? Hey, Don.
Page 35 at the bottom.
Go ahead, pick it up.
Rich Dad continued. Well, if you're the kind of person who has no guts, you just give up every time life pushes you. If you're that kind of person, you live all your life playing it safe, doing the right things, saving yourself for some event that never happened. Then you die a boring old man. You'll have lots of friends who really like you because you were such a nice, hard-working guy. But the truth is that you let life push you into submission. Deep down, you were terrified of taking risks. You really wanted to win, but the fear of losing was greater than the excitement of winning. Deep inside, you and only you will know you didn't go for it. You choose to play it safe. Our eyes met again. You've been pushing me around, I asked. Some people might say that, smiled Rich Dad. I would say I just gave you a taste of life. What taste of life, I asked, still angry, but not curious and ready to learn. But now curious and ready to learn. You boys are the first people who have ever asked me to teach them how to make money. I have more than 150 employees, and not one of them has asked me what I know about money. They ask me for a job and a paycheck, but never to teach them about money. So most would spend the best years of their lives working for money, not really understanding what it is they are working for. I sat there listening intently. So when Mike told me you wanted to learn how to make money, I decided to design a course that mirrored real life. I could talk until I was blue in the face, but you wouldn't hear a thing. So I decided to let life push you around a bit so you could hear me.
Wow.
That's why I only paid you 10 cents. So what is the lesson I learned from working for only 10 cents an hour? I asked. That you're cheap and exploit your workers. Rich Dad rocked back and laughed heartily. Finally he said, you'd best change your point of view. Stop blaming me and thinking I'm the problem. You think I'm the problem, then you have to change me. If you realize that you're the problem, then you can change yourself.
Right.
Learn something and grow wiser.
Wow.
Most people want everything else in the world to change but themselves.
Woo,
Let me tell you, it's easier to change yourself than everyone else. Yeah.
Ain't that good?
Yeah. I don't understand you, I said. Don't blame me for your problem, Rich Dad said, growing impatient. But you only paid me 10 cents. So what are you learning? Rich Dad asked, smiling. That you're cheap, I said with a sly grin. See, you think I'm the problem, said Rich Dad. But you are. Well, keep that attitude and you'll learn nothing. Keep the attitude that I'm the problem, and what choices do you have? Well, if you don't pay me more or show me more respect and teach me, I'll quit. Well put, Rich Dad said. And that's exactly what most people do. They quit and go looking for another job, a better opportunity, a higher pay, actually thinking that this will solve the problem. In most cases, it won't. So what should I do? I asked. Just take this measly 10 cents an hour and smile? Rich Dad smiled. That's what the other people do. But that's all they do. Waiting for a raise, thinking that more money will solve their problems. Most just accept it. And some take a second job working harder, but again accepting a small paycheck. I sat staring at the floor, beginning to understand the lesson Rich Dad was presenting. I could sense it was a taste of life. Finally, I looked up and asked, so what will solve the problem? This, he said, leaning forward in his chair and tapping me gently on the head, this stuff between your ears. It was at that moment that Rich Dad shared the pivotal point of view that separated him from his employees and my poor dad, and led him to eventually become one of the richest men in Hawaii.
Stop right there. So let's just catch this. I could sense it was a taste of life. Finally, I looked up and said, so what will solve the problem? Here's the question. What will solve your problem? And then this is what he said. Read it, man.
Leaning forward in his chair and tapping me gently on the head. This stuff between your ears.
And I mean, that applies to everybody who's sitting in this room and everybody who's not here. you already got a wealth of stuff and it's good. But this has to be developed, and to develop what you got that's good, you have to sacrifice some other things that are not so good in order for you to ultimately get to that place where you say you want to go. And if you're not willing to sacrifice, then you really don't want to go where you say you want to go. You just want to waste up other people's time talking about where you want to go and killing your own dreams and desires.
Because Rich Dad definitely told him, you the help you've been waiting.
You've been the help you've been waiting for. That's good.
Definitely told him.
Well, pick it up, somebody else. We're almost done for the day. I know this is heavy for you.
Okay.
It was at that moment that Rich Dad shared the pivotal point of view that separated him from his employees and my poor dad, and led him to eventually become one of the richest men in Hawaii. While my highly educated but poor dad struggled financially all his life, it was a singular point of view that made all the difference over a lifetime. Rich Dad explained his point of view over and over, which I call lesson number one. The poor and the middle class work for money. The rich have money work for them.
Let's stop right there and think about that. So if right now you don't have any money working for you, then we know, just by this definition, that we're not building well. It's pretty quiet in here. But okay. So now watch this. I looked up on this. When I worked for Hennepin County, a sister asked me, do I invest? I had never invested in anything. And the sister asked me, well, do you play? That was how she had introduced it to me. She said, do you play? I said, well, play what? What are you talking about? And she said, well, do you play the market? And I said, no, I don't, I don't. I didn't know anything about, not really, And so she showed me, as a part of my job, right, I had this opportunity to invest in a 401k. A 401k is the name of a plan. And in this name of the plan, you can put some money aside for yourself, for your own retirement, and you can do that tax-free. So, for instance, about the time she was talking that to me, I was making probably something in the 40s, 40,000 or something like that, right? And that was a lot of money at that time. And so she was saying, now, if you do this right, you can invest in your 401k and still have the exact same amount of money of take-home pay as you had. And I struggled with that because, I was kind of a money monger. I did love the sight of money, and I did struggle with giving some over to somebody. I struggled with it. But then she showed me how I can invest a certain amount that would lower my take-home pay, which lowered my taxable income. So the government took less tax because I gave some to myself. And so because of that, I ended up coming home with the same amount of money I was coming home with before, even though I had given myself some money.
Yeah.
And so what she was showing me, she was a smooth operator. And wherever she is, I can tell you she's not broke. But this is how my first foray was, just a pleasant conversation into the investment world. This was my first foray into it. And sometimes you in these jobs because you're trying to build a foundation. Say a foundation. Well, sometimes in these jobs they have some investment packages, but you don't pay that stuff no attention because you really kind of, in some ways, think it's for somebody else. It's not really for you. But the truth of the matter is that if you're working a job and you've been on that same job for 2 years or better, if your job doesn't have an investment portfolio package for you, then you have to go out and look for an investment package for yourself. I'm just going to stop right there to make sure you're getting what I'm saying. Because if you've been on a job where you're working for somebody else for 2 years. That gives you stability, workplace stability. But now if you invest your money in some other thing, it could be a taxable investment like I'm telling you, because the government does provide you with these shelters for investing in your own future. One of the reasons why, especially urban people, we don't never leave anybody anything. When we pass away, we broke, and matter of fact, the people coming from behind you end up having to raise money to bury you.
Right.
Is that right, or am I making that up?
Right.
But the reason why that is because of rich dad, poor dad. Because whoever that was so poor. I know it's hard, I'm sorry. But was so poor they couldn't even bury their own self. Now, there's always extenuating circumstances and stuff happens, it happens too soon. You know, there's things that come up. I mean, I get all of that. But at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to set something aside for yourself. And if you've been on your job for 2 years and you don't have an investment in your retirement right now, you are working for rich dad. And you're living like poor dad. And what you have to do is take that time to go through your job's got a package. When you took the job, they gave you a big old envelope full of stuff. And in that big old envelope full of stuff, some of it is telling you where they have investment opportunities. And you got to go through that and find it and either take advantage of that or look for another one on your own. Because after 2 years, you should start having some money work for you. All right, come on, somebody else. Somebody else jump in. Thank you, sir. We're almost done now.
On that bright Saturday morning, I learned a completely different point of view from what I had been taught by my poor dad. At the age of 9, I understood that both dads wanted me to learn. Both dads encouraged me to study, but not the same things. My highly educated dad recommended that I do what he did. Son, I want you to study hard, get good grades, so you can find a safe, secure job with a big company, and make sure it has excellent benefits. My rich dad wanted me to learn how money works so I could make it work for me. These lessons I would learn through life with his guidance, not because of the classroom. My rich dad continued my first lesson. I'm glad you got angry about working for 10 cents an hour. If you hadn't got angry and had simply accepted it, I would have to tell you that I could not teach you. You see, true learning takes energy, passion, and a burning desire. Anger is a big part of that formula. For passion is anger and love combined. When it comes to money, most people want to play it safe and feel secure. So passion does not direct them. Fear does.
Stop right there. So go back and read that part again. Listen, when it comes to money, somebody say when it comes to money.
When it comes to money.
Now read that part.
When it comes to money,
Yes.
most people want to play it safe
Right.
and feel secure. So passion does not direct them. Fear does.
Right. See, that's how we are.
That's
when
what we just talked about.
Yes, sir. When we come out of the street life, right, and that fast money, then we live in a different kind of life, and now we kind of squaring up. Yeah. And even though it's still another hit.
Yep. Slow money,
Wow.
fast money go too fast.
Well, so anyway, watch this. So that one account I was telling you about, I put a little money in there every check, and it will come out automatically from my
Paychecks.
Listen, it didn't take no time, maybe 6 months, before that account had more money in it than I had in my pocket.
That's right.
But that account was working for me. That account is still working for me right now. While I'm sitting here looking in your face, that account is at work.
Healing up.
Now, when the economy went down, that account took hits.
Right, it took it was down.
So you know what I mean? So, but it done recovered all of that and then actually compounded.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I'm just trying to share with you, I stumbled into it. I didn't know what I was doing. I stumbled into it. Somebody, yes. And what I'm up here saying is that if we don't sit up here and talk about how to become truly successful, then we just playing a game. Cause I see you guys over the years. You know, you do all right for a couple of years, and then all of a sudden, you know, you get with one little chicken wing. She ring your bell. Now, you know, all of a sudden, now you say you done latched all in behind her. You done lost your job. You done, you know, you fell off, and you can't get back. You can't pull yourself back together. You blaming everybody else for your issues. But what Rich Dad told the little boy right here, you know what's gonna get you rich is what's right here between your own head. And if you ain't putting that to work, then you're gonna be poor. You just gotta shut up and accept it. You're gonna be living in the senior high-rise. You know, I mean, everybody. I love that there's a senior high-rise building. I'm telling you, Donald, I don't want to live there. Listen to what I'm up here telling you. You know, I don't want to just mess around, Andre. 9,000. I don't want to mess around, live my life. You get what I'm saying? And then like resign to the senior high-rise building up on 7th floor where the air conditioner went out, and I'm trapped. The elevator don't work. I can't.
Yeah, that remind me of the Robert Taylors, man.
Right. Well, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. And we got to get a vision for something bigger than that. And you know why we sit here playing? Time is clicking off. Time is going by. It ain't waiting on nobody in this room.
Did you say economics is key?
No, I would say what's between your head is key. And if you don't build a solid foundation so that your ideas have something to stand on, then your economics will always fail you. Somebody else. Get to the book. Get to the book. Come on, somebody.
So, is that why they take jobs with low pay? I asked. Yes, said Rich Dad. Some people say I exploit people because I don't pay as much as the sugar plantations or the government. I say the people exploit themselves. It's their fear, not mine. But don't you feel you should pay them more? I asked. I don't have to. And besides, more money will not solve their problems. Just look at your dad. He makes a lot of money and he still can't pay his bills. Most people's giving more money only get into more debt. So, that's why the 10 cents an hour, I said, smiling, is part of the lesson. That's right. Smile, Rich Dad. You see, your dad went to school and got an excellent education so he could get a higher paying job. But he still has money problems because he has never learned anything about money in school. On top of that, he believes in working for money. And you don't, I asked. No, not really, said Rich Dad. If you want to learn to work for money, then stay in school. That is a great place to learn to do that. But if you want to learn how to have money work for you, then I will teach you that. But only if you want to learn. When anyone want to learn that, I asked. No, said Rich Dad. Simply because it's easy to learn to work for money, especially if fear is your primary emotion when the subject of money is discussed. Now, I don't understand. I said with a frown, I don't worry about that. Well, don't worry about that for now. Just know that it's fear that keeps most people from working at a job. The fear of not paying their bills, the fear of being fired, the fear of not having enough money, and the fear of starting over.
Wow.
That's the price of studying to learn a professional trade and then working for money. Most people become a slave to money and then get angry at their losses.
Stop right there. That was good. So anybody got a comment or thought about it? Tylan, what's your thought about it? Anybody got a comment or thought about this?
I had thought about something.
Go ahead, Cal, and then go
Rich
ahead.
Daddy was taking his money and invested in, but the little man didn't know that this money was building up, and he still was working his money through him.
Yeah, that's good. Come on.
So, you know, when he said, so that's why the 10 cents an hour, I said, he said some knowledge, it was part of the lesson. Because, you know, it's something I read earlier, and it was, it said, you know, to whom much is given, much is required. If you can't be a steward of a little, how can you be a steward of a lot? So if I get, you know, money has gotten me in trouble a lot of times.
Give us an example.
Well, it's been many times I got out of penitentiary, right, and went straight to get a job, right, and as soon as I got that job, and I made a head, and I'm, you know, these people want me to pay to stay at these halfway houses, right? No, I don't want to pay, because I want free, right? But not only that, when I got money, the old Angelo came out, the slick guy.
What does slick guy want to do?
He want to he want to party, he want to pick up money. So I never learned how to manage money anyway. So when I got money, I mismanaged it. And when I mismanaged it, I spent it like what you were saying about in the week, right? But I would spend mine sometimes before the week. And what I had to do, I had to go hustle because I'm mad that I spent that money. Now I got to hustle. I got a job.
You're desperate.
Right, I'm desperate. So I end up doing something. Next thing you know, I'm back in the joint.
Wow. Boy, that's a good example right there. That's a good example right there. I sure appreciate you being honest, man, like that. Because you can get something when you're with that level of honesty. You find a growth in yourself from that, man.
I mean, but you know, Pops, we talked about me needing a job, and I do. I'm looking for a job now. But prior to that, I told you how important my education was. Right. Because I had to learn a way of managing money, which I'm better at doing now today.
Can I say something?
This brother's talking.
Oh, no, just something came to mind. It's really good, man. It's like, man, blessing my life, you know what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
So, you know, that's what I was saying. For me, I had, even though I need money, man, I had to take a break from it. I had to sacrifice money for the education. And the education was more so in a way of thinking.
Good. And that's good because, see, this is good, and I'm so glad what you're saying. And that education has grown you now in a way to where you're not the same Angelo you were.
Right.
And so now with the idea of having some more money come your way, you have a better opportunity to manage it differently than what the old Angelo did. Now the old Angelo is going to knock at the door. You just have to let them know ain't nobody home.
Exactly.
What you got?
I'm up parole on this Saturday, on the 2nd.
Give him a hand. What made that come to mind?
Because I wasn't thinking about it. I meant to say it last week, but it just like jumped in there like, boom, I'm done.
Right, the 19th, I think, right?
The 2nd.
The 2nd, yeah. So that's, it's good to cancel that contract, right? And that's for sure. But as we go on deeper in this, what we have to recognize is that life is here, and what we got to do is we got to grab this thing and make it work and figure out how to pull these residual incomes in. What was the, I want to say there was some kind of a program around here that was a sales thing. People were selling, I remember they were back in the day, they were selling cable. You could go around and sell cable at people's houses.
Comcast, yeah.
Comcast, yeah. And then you get a little residual from that. You know, as long as that person kept their cable, you kept getting a hit.
Right.
That kind of stuff still exists. You have to look harder for it. But there's all kinds of ways for us to get money and be legal and be correct and not feeling all desperate and bent out of shape.
Can I show this format to us as far as what the Pop TV for Willie to help
Son,
it?
right now we're having a discussion on something else, and then but I mentioned to Will that you called about Pop TV, and it made an impression on you, and I appreciated that. So I'm going to certainly give you an opportunity to holler about that, but we're not there yet. Right? And so for me, it's helpful to me if you can at least follow along with the format of what we're trying to do, son, because we only got so much time. And some people, I know you close to being out, but you know what? Some people here still fighting for their life. And so this is serious as a heart attack. And I need you to take it just that seriously. And oh, by the way, for those who are here, who've been working on Pop Delivers, with some residual income for y'all. We know you got your job, but you got a little money coming from Pop Delivers. We know you got your job, but you got a little money because there's money here, and this is Akithia's money for coming out, and she worked one night with us and let her know, that Pop Delivers didn't forget about her, and then that's yours, and that's her money. That's stick right there. Man, that's money in that bag.
And you know what, man?
Go ahead.
Just a conversation, right? Rich man's poor dad, right? This is conversation. It should ignite a fire in you. If you do not know, or you are afraid, get with somebody that is courageous. This is what he is doing. And the conversation is about getting with somebody that does know how to do things, navigate through the financial field to help you. Now, there's some people in this room that really got good ideas. And what we've been talking about for the last 3 weeks is being courageous enough to step out. Your job, ain't nothing wrong with your job. Be it $10, $12.
Yeah.
Because that's the contract that we up on under.
Right.
And we talked about that, what we owe the DOC. But to live a life, your birthright, you know what I mean? What you're giving God rights, your potentials. You have to step out. Otherwise you'll be miserable. One thing this story I caught right away is the people that are most miserable are the people who are afraid. They will not take a chance. They will not put their $200 on the line to gain $2,000. Even if they lose that. You know what I mean? Most rich people in the world have failed several times over before they even got to that plateau. Listen to the stories of the world.
That's good.
You know what I mean? And this is what we're talking about in this room. Dare to be rich. Dare to drive. Just dare to drive. You know what I mean? Like we in this room. Dare to be free.
Yes, sir.
Dare to let somebody love on you. Dare to love on somebody else. Come on now. We popping this. For real. This ain't no story.
Right.
We ain't making this up. This stuff is factual. This is everyday life. For real.
And we all live it.
We all living it. We're together.
That's a good word. That's a good word. The reason, following Donald's conversation there was great. The reason why we have invested in this book, this is your book. The reason why we've invested in it, because if there are some things that you don't understand, you might want to dig in here and try to get a better look. Or maybe you had this piece and it dropped. You can go back and pick it up. You get it? It's not over yet, right? So this is kind of the reason why we invested in the book. These aren't free. We had to buy these. Nobody's donating. Nobody donated books because we nice people. We had to pay the money. Say the money. The money. We had to pay the money, but see, y'all are worth it. You are worth it right here.
So when we get our investment, we'll be able to pay the truck back.
Man, look. Pay it forward.
Yeah. Pay it forward.
Pay it forward. Help somebody else. That'll be fine. Go ahead. You got something?
Well, I've been gone for a minute, working.
Say your name real quick.
Rarity for y'all that don't know me. I've been in pop since probably like 2012. And I've been gone for a minute just doing my own thing. And the book kind of described, like Dan Pop, what he was saying, go out and get it and do it. He know that's me, you know what I'm saying? I've been on that. I done did, clothing stores. I done had my own moving company, car lots. And recently I just opened up my candy store. So that's why I was passing out candy and stuff like that. And it only been open for a little bit. Y'all can just take some flyers. But I got people coming from all over Minneapolis, Dinkytown.
Where are you located?
In St. Paul. And they be coming and talking about the store, my church. When I went up there to talk to them about it, they
one lady said, well, they was talking about your store on the bus, and it's a good, God bless me, you know, and just, you know, so y'all can catch up with my history. I just got out a little bit ago. I only been out probably about 8 months. I was falsely accused of a crime and ended up beating it on appeal or whatever. So, I mean, God is good. He just blessed me. I'm at that point with
Come on,
everything.
give a little love to that. So if you want some candy, wait a minute. Well, I love this. I love this. Cause see, it's simple. It's a simple model, but it works. If you want some candy, we got Rarity right here. And if you want the latest in live TV streaming technology, then you have to see Will. And Tylon, wait a minute. Tylon, you got something you want to share with Will?
All right, so man, I worked at LA Fitness for like a year and a half, bro. I mean, and they showed me the whole salesy format, you know, in regard to the sleazy salesman, the whole format of sales, you know what I'm saying? So I really know how to present, you know, the value, like kind of like Willie, not as great as he did, you know what I'm saying? When he was sitting here showing us that whole format. But I got like here, and I don't see no reason why we can't like take this and then switch it up, and then use it the same way in regards to being able to have a job, you know what I mean? And each one, all we gotta do is make copies of it. Like, boom. Bam, bam. So I just got some old LA Fitness stuff, you know, with it. So this is how we went out and got leads, right here, you know, with this format. We could just switch this whole thing up. Take all this out, take all that out, take everything out, right? And then it's just an empty, you know, like a template. Boom. So this is all the referrals right here. And then this is the person who is actually doing the work, you know, the actual pop, whatever, ambassador, whatever he could be. Yeah, and bam. This whole format, they could click certain questions for, I guess, whatever type of bonuses Willie got on there, or certain type of whatever, and then bam. And then we have all our referrals right here, and then we make a copy, turn it in a will, bam.
Let me see that. That makes good sense. Oh, this is what he's talking about. That makes good sense, Will. And so, see, that's the kind of, that was a good support of our comment, and I know his presentation, it hit you, because I think somehow you want to do something too, but, you know, you just haven't got clear about what it is you want to do, and then how to go forward with it. Yeah.
No, I know what it is. I just don't. I can't say that because it's that potent. What I want to do.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't want to say that because it's like my idea, and I don't want to like say it, and then it's given up, and then somebody else do what I know I want to do.
I got you.
I feel like what I want to do, man.
What you want to do?
Okay, all right. I don't care, man. All right, you know they have all the training centers and stuff like that. You have training centers for jobs, right? You know, this is just my own mind.
Sure.
Now you have people called venture capitalists. You know, you have all different, you know, variations of people that invest their money into different things. You know, the whole rich dad poor dad thing. The rich don't use their own money, all that different stuff.
What do you want to do?
So I'm feeling like everybody in here went through fair boat, business class, and all that different stuff. We could set up some type of organization that teaches business, you know, to the youth, you know, and then if we have the people that will invest into these, you know, creative minds, you know, that's very bright, and then we extract the ideas from them, we could shut down all plantation centers, or, you know, workforce centers, and have business teaching centers where the children come out, business owners. And then if it's a lucrative idea, meaning that it's gonna work, it's gonna work. Who would not invest into each one that's coming out of those areas of school called Lincoln is currently empty right now. And it's a church right across the street empty right now. For some type of real power move and something to insert that just recreate the minds of the youth.
Okay, let me stop you right there. That's a great idea.
So you could do it,
and
all the others.
Well, I'm doing my idea, and so what I'm trying to get you
That's
to
my
do,
idea.
right? Give him a hand. Give him a hand. What I think though, and see if now, how do you develop that in a way that causes you to be able to present it to capitalists who might invest?
Somebody polish me off and help me out to where I don't know the last parts. I don't know what to do at this point. I'm stuck.
So why don't you?
You have to share that.
My suggestion.
You have to share. You have to share what the parts that you feel worthy to share.
Yeah.
And remove that
If
fear.
you remove that block out the way, right?
Which is that fear.
And come through that door and say, hey man, I don't know where to go from this
Went to
point,
elementary
right?
school over there,
So
too.
what, excuse me, but what I would do is, we have assigned for this week, coming chapters, introduction through, chapter 4.
Then I got another one. It's just like, man.
That's fine for now. But let's just read the book, Tylon. And then next week, you know, I would like to talk about, yeah, but, you know, maybe you need to review it.
I got to download somehow.
You know, however you want to do it. But, you know, read 1 through 4, because I just want you to think about what's being talked about in this book, and then also what you want to do with your own life. You know, if there's something, and everybody doesn't have an idea for a business, and that's okay. But you can still become a part of an investment genre that gives your capital that you earn an opportunity to grow for you and work for you while you're asleep. And wealth, somebody say wealth.
Wealth.
Say it louder.
Wealth.
Wealth is only generated if it can be operational while you're asleep.
That's right.
I want you to just think about that for a minute. Go ahead. No. Now, I was going to have you keep the book here, but I'm just going to let you go ahead on, and I would ask you to bring the book back to group so that when we go to it, you know, bring your book back to reference. Now, you know, some people it's hard. If you know you're not going to bring your book back, you want to leave it here, then leave it. But otherwise, it's your gift from POP, and what we're trying to do is help you define your thinking, and then both individually and collectively, how we can think and grow rich. Well, that's good. That's good. So look, we're gonna jump back real quick. We got a couple of guys that are visiting, and we want to at least hear from them. We got Andre 9000. I just named him that. And then this brother right here. Say your name again. Barry is visiting, so we want to let them say a little something about themselves and this and that. Andre, we'll start with you.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity just to be able to come here. This is the last piece that satisfies the treatment. I've been in a 12-week treatment program, so I got a DUI. After this, I graduate tomorrow.
Let's give him a little love for that.
It was surprising to me just because so much of the conversation that was had here is like really, really relevant to my life and what I'm going through right now. Just in like a real meaningful, like not coincidental that I got here and came here and got to hear those pieces. Even if I don't end up coming back, it's like it was powerful on me just in the conversation that was had today. Just because I've been going through it like a lot in my life. I have my own business. I already done being a lot business minded. I've been blessed to have. Been reconnected with my thinking by another organization in Minneapolis. But then I lost it, like you said, I fell off. And then I'm just trying to get it back together. I fell in love, gave up a whole lot of good opportunities, a good job. I had to come back, restart my business, and like it's all been a work in progress. But it's been a struggle, especially lately. Like I done fell out with all my family just because they see my success and like they keep trying to like hit me, like steal from me and target my success. And so like I done had to cut off all my family, like everybody, all my ties to the streets. It's like I want to love people, but like and have them be a part of my life, but just can't no more just because I'm growing too much in my own success and like they'll pull me back down, back with them. And I can't have that happen. But like just a lot of things that was said today was directly relevant to just my last month, my last couple weeks. It's like I've been going through it, and it was empowering and motivating, and it's basically exactly what I needed. I probably need to come back so I can get some more of it if that's a possibility. But yeah, and then this book too. I read books and I like books. I want to read this book. I know I got to give it back though.
We're giving you an assignment. We're giving you an assignment. Read 1 through 4, and come back and report next week on what you read. Give him a hand for stepping. Come on, brother. Say your name, a little bit about yourself.
I'm Barry. Now I'm just here with my cousin. Been married for 14 years. I've never been to the penitentiary.
Congrats. Give Barry a hand.
That's it.
Yeah, basically working. What you been doing?
You know, PCA working. I've been working a little odd jobs.
Yeah, good. What does your money work for you?
Not right now.
So was the discussion helpful to you?
Yeah.
Think about that?
Yeah.
How old are you?
40.
You look young. But 40's young, and you know, that's good that you work in PC and all of that.
He a good father too.
That's good. And how many children you have?
7.
7. Boy, that's a busy brother. Yeah, so that, we appreciate you taking care of your babies and raising your children. That's important there. So, you know, so that you're setting the example for who they're supposed to be in life. Just by you being home and present. When somebody say dad, and then you turn around and say what? You turn around and say what? And that's what every child, you know, really longs for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's a whole bunch of us in here hollering out dad for 2 or 3 years, and we never did get an answer. After
No, my
that,
dad, I'm 40.
we just quit hollering. You don't know your dad?
Nope.
That's one of the
So
now you know.
I just want to say that young man back there, that with the struggle that you say about your family, I'm in that same position. But you know what, bro? That means you growing and you going somewhere, and they ain't understanding. Cause I'm in that same situation with mine. They don't understand how I get to grow now and be better.
Wow.
They won't see the old Calvin, the one that run out in the street and do crazy stuff. And then I'm not there. And then with the man upstairs, he's blessing me so good that if y'all see my little truck out there.
Yeah, I seen it.
Yeah, it ain't me. But I ran out this thing for good. You know, got to pay for the rims. I'm not there no more.
Hey, I thought that was Miss Lolita's truck. I thought that was Miss Lolita's truck.
On similar to her.
Oh, okay,
Big. She got a Jeep.
Oh, okay. Right now?
Okay.
All right. But so let's move it around. Excuse me. Let's move it around here and get Anthony. You got something? Donald, you got something you want to share?
Yeah, I did. I want to just tell the brother, I'm glad you came here. Our door is always open for you.
Wow.
Always. Anybody that walks in this door is going to walk out of here better than they came in this door. We encourage you to come here. You know what I mean? This is something different. You never read our books, you know, because you haven't read our books. You wouldn't know your family just is
Yeah, right.
if you read our books. But you never read our books, right?
Yeah.
So we understand that, right?
Totally.
But I mean, keep coming, man. Keep coming because you can learn
That's good.
what is going on.
Absolutely.
And hey, man, I love to see you brothers up in here.
Yeah, right.
Because we're doing, everybody here, we're doing something different.
Right.
We ain't did this before. I haven't did it. And I love it.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? I love it. It's just, it motivates you. It makes you want to just feel like, you know what I mean? You can just stand on the scream of the world. Let's get it popping.
Right.
You know?
And Donald, that's so excellent. So, Randy, are you normally here or not so much?
Yeah, right now I'm always open Monday through Friday from 10 to 7:30. I left early. I got a couple employees. It's so cold. That's why I was on my phone because I be watching them. You know what I'm saying? I got my camera system. My money working for me, so I got. That's what I'm doing. I'm on the phone.
Look, he like that. Hey, you get
I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna put my children in the car.
Bring them over.
Bring them all the way over to St. Paul. Scott,
Can I say something about this?
we're gonna support you.
It's all over Facebook, like everybody posting about.
The Kansas?
Yep.
Yeah, you do.
You ain't sent us no invite.
Look at that's Miss Tiffany over there. She knows.
Just so y'all know, I got because it's really like a Chicago store. Everybody that come in there, they say bring them back
And when you say
home. And I got the little nacho cheese, chips, and meat. That's like my main seller thing.
Right.
Yeah, just in case.
You got the because he's all
So you know your little sister, you know, she's your big sister. She was here about 3 weeks ago. It was nice, you know.
Princess.
But real quick, yeah, Princess.
I brought Princess.
Yeah,
I
real
grew up
quick,
with him and his sister.
would you look to your acts of faith? Because I just want to read this before Donald got to get out and go. Donald, how's your job going?
It's fine, man. I love it.
Yeah, good.
It's so good.
Good.
I just had one little thing.
Go ahead.
I have to just say, everybody that is so imperative. My best friend, she got up this morning, her daughters had Tuesday and Wednesday off, so just got up about 9 o'clock, just talking, moving through. She said, I cooked you a little something, want something? Yeah, So then she went through again at 11:30, and she said, girl, take your head out from up under that cover. You gonna smother yourself like that. And she said she didn't say nothing. She went and said, Kylie. And she didn't say nothing. She pulled the covers back. Kylie was dead. So we don't never know when the Lord is gonna call you and say your time is up. So the time and the quality of life that you have is important. And love your neighbor, love your family, because you don't never know when the Lord is gonna call you home.
That's right.
No time for fear.
One more thing, y'all keep me in prayer, man. I'm going to surgery on the 7th. I don't know if I'm gonna be coming back here, but they trying to tell me I'm gonna have to do like 7 to 12 weeks
Of rehab.
out of commission. So y'all keep me in prayer. Let me.
And you might be out for the first few weeks, but then after that, we'll figure out a way for you to get you and bring you on. You know what I mean?
And he needs to know that he ain't by himself.
We'll be calling
He
him.
got up with his
He'll
family.
come to see him.
You gotta have surgery on your knee?
Excuse me.